Hello everybody and welcome to the full review of Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous Season 3. This one is the one with no spoilers, guys, just to inform you in case you didn't know. But if you haven't seen the show yet and want to see what somebody feels about it, go check out my non-spoiler review, which has been uploaded already, so don't worry. If you don't want spoilers, you can go and watch the show and then click on this. But as I mentioned, I was thrilled with this season. Like it upped the horror, it upped the action, the deaths, like everything was turned up to 11. And like honestly, I think it was the best season? I'm not sure. Maybe I'll change my mind by the end of this episode, video, but I don't know. I really did enjoy it, guys. Now we're gonna start by talking about episode 1, which we all know starts off with them escaping the island with their raft, and we see that Bumpy comes to say goodbye to them, which is real sad for Ben and stuff. But as we know in the trailer, tidal wave comes and nearly drowns them apparently. They make it back and we get to see how many types of plans they've tried. They've tried gyrospheres, they've tried finding phones again, they've tried more gyrospheres, even a helicopter, which I don't know where they would have found that, honestly, unless they went back to the main park. I don't know where they could have found that, but still, they've tried a bunch of things, and throughout the first episode, they try and get stuff, specifically a paraglider to use as a sail for their new raft that they're working on. Which, as we all know, it doesn't go well because it leads to the Dermorphadon Attack, which we have all seen because it was posted on YouTube like a week ago. And, well, it was really, unfortunately, one of my negatives that I said in my non-spoiler review was that some dinosaurs didn't get all the more action than they should have, and Dimorphodon fits in that bill because unfortunately this is the only time we actually get to see Dimorphodon at all. Not even like a quick glimpse of them afterwards. Nope. All we get is that scene, which unfortunately is a little unfortunate. But for what we had, it was fun. And we also want to say, how can they have eggs that big? Like, look at the size of their bodies compared to that egg. The egg is as big as their head almost. So, yeah, anyway. But we get to see more character development between some, like Yaz and Brooklyn, who still, despite it being like 6 months after Jurassic World fell, they're still rather awkward around each other, like don't know what to talk about. But throughout the episode, we get to see them build their relationship, as well as with Kenji and Sammy, who are like the crazy two of the bunch, which isn't really surprising. And we get to see of course, Darius, try and reconnect with Ben, since we only got to see them reconnect for, 2 minutes at the end of Season 2. But at the end of the episode, which leads to Episode 2, they find out that Mitch and Tiff's boat is still by the island, near some rocks and stuff, and from what they could see, it looks undamaged, so in the second episode, they actually go to find it, and they do, where we get to see them have a yacht party, which I never thought I would see that, and we get to see and again, as I've said, the relationship between the characters has grown even more, especially between Darius and Brooklyn most of all, with Yaz and Sammy close behind, and we get to see the two kids try and prank Kenji because he kept pranking them and giving them heart attacks, which I agree with Kenji there, it was funny. And then it leads to the Tyrannosaurus attack, which we find out it's because the E750 or Scorpius Rex has broken out, which we got to see it for a glimpse in episode 1, because it attacked a Ceratosaurus there, which, damn, poor Cerato, it's not had a good life in the show so far. But we see it, unfortunately, we discover that it's E750, it's throwing off the balance, similar to how Indominus Rex does. And what's interesting is they don't decide to show us the Scorpius Rex until episode 5, where like it starts to take real importance to the show. We only get glimpses of it throughout each episode, mainly near the end, where we see it each time kill something. Like at the end of episode 2, we see it kill the Ouranosauruses, which, yeesh, that thing needs an appetite. Episode 3, we finally get to see Kenji's penthouse. It's freaking huge. Like, how do you need a building that big on this island? It's for 2 people. But we get to see Kenji's reasonings for why he wants to be cool. It's because his father expects him to do something with his life, and he feels if he can't be cool, nobody's gonna like him. But by the end, we see him break out of the shell when he sacrifices some expensive art on a Monolophosaurus's head, which we get to see the Monolophosaurus in the flesh, and, well, the Monolophosauruses, because there was a frickin' army of them. Of course, the kids survive with no harm really done to them, except some falling down an elevator shaft, but, you know, it was fun. We got to see more of Kenji's home and stuff, and episode 4 is where we finally get to see Jurassic Park in Camp Cretaceous. Now, there are some errors with the visitor center, like the T-Rex skull. That shouldn't be intact, but it is, because if you remember in Jurassic World, the Indominus actually crushes it with its weight. We get to see that Blue has made residence in here. We get to see her, like, hunt some compies and, like, eat one. And she attacks the group when they get her attention after they try and recover a compass that a compy stole, because they love shiny objects apparently. And after a crash, we get to see Blue's calmer side, which when Darius points his hand at her, we get to see her like recognize the action that's like similar to what Owen would do, which she hasn't seen him in 6 months either, so maybe it feels familiar. And of course, Kenji shoots a coin at her nose, which is a nice callback to Fallen Kingdom, where Owen tries to give her a treat, but it just hits her nose and she gets annoyed. Didn't go as planned for them, but we got to see Blue, and we'll see her later on. Then we get into episode 5, where also at the end of episode 4 and the beginning of episode 5, we get the kids discover the truth about the Scorpius Rex, like how dangerous it is and how it's broken out, and that it's killing everything, and it's the reason why everything's out of balance. And the episode goes into a very dark point where we get to see the Scorpius Rex is finally fully revealed as it goes to the camp, and we see that its hunting techniques, where it actually, not only does it use its spikes to inject venom into its prey, but it also hunts from the trees, because we see it like attack from the trees, and then also it sometimes will bring its prey up into the trees, which actually shows that it's smart, but I'll talk about its intelligence later in the video. And we, at the end of the episode, we see it after it leaves the campers because it's drawn away by fire. Before leaving, it actually manages to inject Sammy with its poison, which leads to the 6th episode where Yaz literally runs across the island to get the antidote because they knew where it was. And we get to see the relationship between those two grow so much, sort of her own, because E750, or I can just say Scorpius Rex. Scorpius Rex is literally on our tail. And this is where we get to see the failure of E750. Scorpius Rex, and how its obsession with fire is used against it, because it literally has Yaz ready to be eaten. Like, it has her like cornered between it and a waterfall. And as soon as Ben and Darius successfully create an explosion, which was hilarious, we see E750 literally leave its kill, well, 2 of its kills, because it had a Parasaurolophus earlier in the chase with Yaz, and it leaves Yaz for the fire, which allows Yaz to successfully get back to camp. And she gives Sammy the medicine, and Sammy survives, obviously, because I don't think they would be able to kill a kid. Now, episode 7 was actually probably the most surprising episode in some cases. Like, I'll explain my bigger surprise later. But episode 7, the relationship between Yaz and Sammy is much deeper and stuff. Like, Yaz literally goes out of her way to be kind to all the campers, to trying to encourage them. But it gets to the point where all the campers say they want her to just be her regular self. Which, yeah, it's like, you literally have, Kenji saying to Yaz, please stop being so kind, it's killing me. And then, we get the surprise reveal that there's not only one Scorpius Rex, but 2. Now, the reason for it is a little sketchy. Well, it doesn't really make sense, because Darius mentions that they could have DNA to allow it to produce asexually, but that still requires 2 of the animal. And we get to see the, nature of E7 of the Scorpius Rex, how it's unlike with Indominus Rex and the Indoraptor, it's not that smart. And we get to see its smarts in some cases. Like I've mentioned, it hunts from the trees and actually will bring its prey up into the trees and stuff. But in some cases we don't really get to see them be too smart. We get to see the difference between it and something like Indoraptor. Like, if you recall in Indoraptor's case, we saw it, like, learn to hunt better. Like, it would, be able to go on roofs, climb and stuff. We get to see it do things like that, navigate better, and we get to see it open doors, which is, of course, a way to say it's really smart. And in Indominus Rex, we get to see it, like, in its fighting, we get to see it learn to be better, like, with, Ankylosaurus. It starts off not doing very well, it gets smacked in the face, it bites the top, which is ineffective, but then it learns that and flips it over, of course, and kills the Ankylosaurus. But we see with Scorpius Rex that it's unable to do that, because when it's faced with the Ankylosaurus group, it's unable to find its way through it. It doesn't, like, it tries to use force, but it doesn't work and nearly gets hit in the face for it. And we also get to see in the next episode the Scorpius Rexes arrive in the visitor center. So we go back to Jurassic Park again for this episode, and we see the kids go into the kitchen, which is a nod to Jurassic Park's kitchen scene, which we got a little Easter egg to that with the Monolophosaurus with a window in the penthouse. But we see it, like, look through the window, one of the Scorpius Rexes, and then we see that it can't open the door, because it tries to, but it actually gives up because it can't. Unfortunately, it leads to their downfall, because while in the visitor center, Blue comes in and attacks one of them, and also since they can't seem to work together, they just want to bite each other. Blue takes on one of them, and one of the Scorpius Rexes takes on that one, and eventually the fighting gets so destructive that the visitor center actually collapses on them, killing both of them, and Blue escapes, obviously. And, well, we get to finally see the death of Jurassic Park, as if it took Jurassic Park's death to kill the Scorpius Rex. But I hear you asking, there's still 2 episodes left. Well, that's where we get into the real big shocker. Because if you recall, back a while ago, before Season 3 had come out, Alan Trevorrow had stated that, he wanted to make sure that we got to see the kids all the way up to the events of the beginning of Fallen Kingdom, which, for some reason that I still don't understand, takes place 6 months later, after the events of Jurassic World. So the opening of Fallen Kingdom happened that far away. And he also said that there would be more seasons, like Season 4, Season 5, but, here's the big but, it turns out the biggest twist was actually that the last 2 episodes take place during the opening scene of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, because we get to see, just when they're about to leave for the final time, that 3 helicopters, while in the middle of a very familiar storm, come and surround them, with one going, God knows where, which we find out later is the one that goes to Main Street to drop off the poor Yellow Jacket man. He didn't make it. And we get to see, in Camp Cretaceous' point of view, the opening for Fallen Kingdom. So we get to see Rexy come back almost kill a guy, and then, like, the kids, like, they're like, oh, he made it, he's so that was lucky, and then Mosasaurus jumps and they're like, never mind. Although we don't get to see them realize that the Mosasaurus gate is open, which is interesting. I wonder if that'll be a plot point, because the last episode reveals Dr. Wu like trying to get his research. He doesn't want Scorpius Rex, and like he learns from Brooklyn that they're both dead and all the things we know. And we get to see Dr. Wu's character change a bit. Like, despite what Fallen Kingdom showed about his work with the Indoraptor, it seems to me that they're sort of teasing what his character's gonna be like for Jurassic World Dominion, because as Brooklyn states that if he really was an innovator, he would be doing it to help the world, not harm it. And he actually takes this to heart and actually spares the kids. Well, he actually orders the mercenaries to spare them, even though one of them tries to crash a helicopter into them, which, Jesus, man, you're crazy. But it does tease what he may be like in Dominion. Could he be someone who regrets what he did with the hybrids? I feel like that might happen. And we also get some cameo dinosaurs, including the baryonyx duo, Chaos and Limbo, who I did a video on what could be their role. Unfortunately, it was just a cameo, but they still got a kill of one of the mercenaries, so nice work there, guys. Nice work. And the ending reveals that there's some tension between the some of the kids, but especially between Darius and Kenji, because Kenji didn't agree with the plan of destroying the computer with all his research, because at this point Brooklyn was actually captured by them. Hence why I said she was telling him about all his mistakes and stuff and all about E750. But at the end of it, they do successfully destroy it and stuff, but as he states, he doesn't want to, he wouldn't risk his friend's life for research, which I can understand him, but it seems that they are not really good friends right now, which makes sense. And they do successfully leave the island, and unfortunately Ben has to say goodbye to Bumpy, who's with another Ankylosaurus group, and we also get to see while they're leaving that they are not alone on that boat. Now, no, it's not Tiff, which that would be infuriating if it wasn't, because it was like my favorite death in Season 2. But there may be something on board the boat, because it pans to the last shot is of the door into the lower parts of the ship. But that is it, guys. So Season 3 ends on a sort of cliffhanger, which does leave the possibility of a Season 4, and also it could just be the end, because we don't see them get to the mainland, so we don't know what the Mosasaurus is up to right now, because we know that for 2.5 years it actually was free in the open ocean, which I still don't know how the heck it was able to do that for that long without being noticed, but that's just me. But that is gonna have to wrap up this review, guys. In conclusion, I still will say that it is a 9.5 out of 10. My negatives still were the villain character, the like Fallen Kingdom portion of the show, I think was a little bit like I felt like it was a little rushed, like just a little. Like it could have been like if episode 8 had have been like half Scorpius Rex, half the Fallen Kingdom bit, I would have felt a lot better. And the Dimorphodons, I wish they had more time as well. But what do you guys think about Camp Cretaceous? Did you enjoy it as much as me? And if you haven't, well then while you're watching this video, you should have checked it out first. But if you've enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate the like, and if more Camp Cretaceous news comes out, we'll of course be covering it, as well as Jurassic World Dominion and all that stuff. And if you've enjoyed this video, I know I just said it, please leave a like, hit the subscribe button to join the hunt. Be safe, and until next time, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.